I remember if he had gone to Italy without me for the first time, he was so looking forward to sharing Italy with me. And I too came from a background of loving to cook and knowing how, and we shared that joy and that love. And we had so many an amazing journey together, going to the royal courts of all of Europe, being in places that would just knock people's socks off, having 10-course meals in Catherine's Palace. But when we were back at Long Hill Road and together, that was when sharing happened. And whenever these two would first come over, right after Eric and I met, when Megan and Patrick would come to the home, and he would just be so excited that Meg had made sure that they stayed a part of his life, that she had the generosity of spirit to realize how much he loved them and how much they loved him. And then when I was given such joy as to meet my in-laws, Alex and Elise, and to be a part of their lives from the very beginning, and to share in the Baxter family, and being there for Alice's funeral, and then there for Jack's funeral, and being there with Jane as Jane got to know my grandmother and my mother, three very different women from very different, divergent backgrounds, but with a love that would have moved the world. We were there with them, but we were the observers. They were three brilliant ladies just supporting and loving one another. And it was hard as we lost them one by one. We lost Jane first at the home with Scotty with us, and then we lost Graham. And it was weird because my mother was the one with Parkinson's, and they would always care for her, and she was the last to go. So then after we lost Mom, it caused a time of needing to regather and to redefine who we were as a couple and who we were as a family and where to go from there. And a piece that happened right around then is when grandchildren were brought into our world, and the joy of seeing Sear for the first time, and then seeing Jules, and it just was such an incredible gift. And then came retirement. And the day of retirement, the diagnosis. And so this is when we had Merida travel planned together, and we were very fortunate to have planned this trip ahead of time, and we'd asked Elise and Patrick the year prior if we could do it for Christmas together. And Merida was a place that we had fallen in love with together. It's a very unique place on the planet. And as I may or may not have started, Eric so loved sharing. Anytime we went someplace, that is why he could give such gifts to everyone's travel, because we didn't just travel together, we enculturated together. We became, it may have been his Bowden, it may have been the zest that he got from Barney and from Jane, whatever it was, he just lived and absorbed every moment. And it's something fascinant. Tell me, Glenn, what that is. Anyhow, Eric just pulled the life marrow out of life, you know? And so life was circles with Eric. As we came close to the end, it was the circle of losing Bill, that brought the Bowden set back together. There was the Egypt trip that brought Kate and Barbara into a trip together. There was the Merida trip that was the first time that we, Glenn, Shan, and I had traveled together. There were the Merida trips of Judy and Allie and Scotty together, and then the final trip of Merida with Jules and Sear and Elise and Patrick. It was just so beautiful, and I will never forget Jules putting a kapow on Eric's cancer, and I still have that with me for always. And while our love and prayers could not kapow the cancer away, cancer and COVID, as weird as it may be, was a gift to the two of us, because it brought us back to what brought us together originally, which, after talking about food together when we first met, and our first meal together that Eric prepared for me was a brown in bag pot roast. That the roast was overdone and dry as hell. But we were madly in love at that point, and we didn't give a shit. And so for 21 years we had an amazing love story, and I thank you all for listening.